Hello, I'm Mrs. C, and I'm an ELL teacher at Florida Connections Academy. Today, I'm going to be going over the Unit 1, Lesson 10, Things Used Today and Long Ago. This is a language arts portfolio assignment that you'll complete at home independently, and then you'll turn it into your teacher and receive a grade. So I'm here to help you get the best grade possible. Before we begin, let's look at our rubric to see what we need to do on our assignment. If I look right here, it says parts. The student drew and wrote about change of an object used today and an object from the past. The student wrote about the similarities of the objects. That's how the objects are the same. And wrote about the differences of the objects. That's how the objects are different. The student used opposite word pairs. So if you include all of those things, then you will receive 12 out of 12 points, which is the highest score possible. Here's what it says in this section. Included an object used today and an object from the past. Similarities, the ways they're the same, and differences, the ways they are different. And used opposite word pairs. So opposite, remember, that means very, very different. Things that are opposite would be things like fast and slow, then and now, old and new. All of those are opposite words. Let's look at some of the technology from the past and from present, current times that were in our lesson. Right here on this page, I see an old toy car. So this is from the past. And a remote control car. This is from present or current times. This is from now. So these are two objects that you could choose to use in your assignment. On this page, I see some other objects. There are some gears, headphones, webcams, a handwritten letter, a phonograph, and newspapers. Some of these objects are from the past, some are from the present, and some are from both. Now, right now in class, you might use a webcam. Do you think there were webcams long ago in the past? No, that's a newer technology. So this is not one that is from the past and current times. It's just from right now in the present. What about handwritten letters? Do you think people did that in the past? They definitely did. Do you think people do it now in current times? Yeah, you definitely still can. So this is something that was used in the past and something we can still use now. But we can also use faster ways to send letters, like email or a text message. So some things we still use, but we have other options that weren't available in the past. You definitely couldn't email your grandmother or email your brother that lived far away in the past. Okay, so for this assignment, you have a draw and write worksheet. So that means you're going to draw pictures and you're going to write some of those complete sentences. So let's look at an example, Mrs. C's example of how you could complete this. Remember, you don't need to choose the same objects I chose. You just need to make sure you include all of those items from the rubric. Okay, so here's my draw and write worksheet. You're going to print this out. I'm using Paint to do it on my computer just so you can see, but you're going to want to print it out. So let me grab my pencil tool. I've got black. The first thing I want to do is make a line straight down. Why do you think I'm making a line straight down where I'm drawing? You don't have to do this, but I think it's a good idea. Do you know why? We are drawing two objects, right? The rubric said we need to include two objects to get the highest score possible. So I need something from the past, and I'm going to write that at the top. Past, P-A-S-T. And we need something from now, present, right? Current times. Now, N-O-W. So now I've already got my page set up to have two pictures drawn. Now, the first thing that I'm going to draw, I think, is an old steam train. My children really like trains. I'm not the best at drawing them, but I've had a little bit of practice. So I'm choosing to draw a train. So this is my older looking train. Kind of got some lines that go here, smoke that comes out, a little window for the conductor. They had those big wheels. go. So this is my train from the past. It's a steam train, right? That's why there's all that smoke coming out. It's using steam and probably some coal. I should probably make the coal trailer that goes back here, right? So this is full of like rocks and coal that they burn. And that is what powers the train. Heats that water up and makes steam, and then the train works. Okay, so I've got a steam train. That is from the past. Remember, it doesn't have to be a perfect drawing. It just has to be your best work. It's kind of hard for me to draw really well on the computer, but I think my teacher can tell this is a steam train. There's my tracks even, so she can see that it's definitely not a car. Now, trains look a lot different, don't they? They do not look the same. They look a lot different. I'm going to add some color to this one too. I don't want to just use a pencil. All right, so now we could do a diesel train. That's one type of train that takes fuel. So we could do a diesel. We could also do a maglev or a magnetic train, like a monorail, if you've ever ridden on the monorail, or a bullet train. We could also do an electric train that uses electric cables. I think I'm going to choose one of those really fast looking bullet trains. I think they're so cool and they're really smooth looking. So they don't really look the same as they did in the past. They've got that more rounded and sort of pointed front. So I'm going to draw a train that looks a lot different. I've still got a window in the cab. And you can fit a lot of passengers on these trains, right? Travel's a lot safer in trains nowadays than it was in the past. So you can fit a lot of people. And the wheels, sometimes it doesn't even have wheels. Sometimes because it runs on magnets, it doesn't even need those wheels. It just kind of floats above. I'm going to add wheels on mine because I think they look pretty cool. And I think some do still have them, but some don't even have wheels. They just float right above the magnets. It's really, really neat. All right, and then I'm going to put it zoop kind of above that track. And the tracks look a little different for these, right? There's like some magnets in there, some metal, but they're not exactly like the tracks that we used to use in the past, the wooden and metal ones. So this is my bullet train. I'm going to give it a stripe, kind of like those neat monorails you may have ridden. Now, monorails are not bullet trains. They're slower, but they do run with the same technology. They do use magnets. We've just gotten better and better and better at it now. We can make them go even faster. All right, so there is my train in current times from now. And you can see it looks a lot different. There's not smoke coming out of it because it's not using steam. It's not burning that coal. It looks a lot smoother, sleeker, and faster. So now I've drawn both of my pictures. I use the word past and now so my teacher would know which picture was which, but I still need to do the right portion. I've done the draw portion. I need to do the right portion of my assignment. So let's scroll down a little bit. We can see where it says write. I'm just going to use my typing tool, but of course you're going to want to write that with a pencil. Make sure you begin each sentence with a capital letter and end each sentence with punctuation. It could be a period, an exclamation point, or a question mark. For my first sentence, I'm going to describe my object from the past. So I'm going to write, in the past, steam trains were slow. So they were not very fast. They were faster than maybe a horse and carriage, but they were not as fast as they are now. So I've got one word here, past, and one word here, slow, that I know I can use a really good opposite word to contrast with them. So I'm now going to say in the present. That's like saying then and now, past and present. Past was long ago, present is current time. So in the present, there are bullet trains. You call them bullet trains or magnetic trains, high-speed railways. All of those mean the same thing. They're all kind of synonyms. There are bullet trains that travel very quickly. So slow and faster opposites, and quickly is a synonym for fast. So quickly and slow are also opposites. So I want to go back and look at my rubric again and make sure that I didn't miss anything. Let's check our rubric. All right. Drew and wrote about change of an object used today and from the past. Did I do an object from the past? Yes. I did a steam train. Did I do an object from today? Yes. I did a bullet train. Write about the similarities of the objects. Well, I kind of have. They're both trains, right? They both are used for travel. And then the differences, slow and quickly. So I talked about the way they move and how it's different. And I use those opposite word pairs, past and present, slow and quickly. Now, I'm thinking that I'm not really happy with that one section that said talked about their similarities. I don't think I talked about that enough. So I want to go back to my assignment and I'm going to add in another sentence. I want to make sure I complete my rubric correctly and completely. I'm going to say both trains were used for transportation. So both trains were used for transportation. I've got to make that a little smaller, see if I can scoot it down. That is a similarity. It's not going to fit. I need to make it smaller. That is a similarity. That is something that is the same about both of those objects. So now I've got my similarity and I've got my differences and I've got my opposite words. Now I'm happy with my draw and write project. So once you complete that and you've double checked your rubric to make sure you included everything too, you might have to go back. That's okay. Add something like I just did. That's fine. Make sure you upload it to your teacher. That way he or she can grade it and you can get the highest grade possible. Now remember, you don't have to do trains. You can do any object from the past, any object from the present. Just make sure you talk about how they're similar still, the same, how they've changed and they're different now, and make sure that you include those opposite words. All right, I hope that this was helpful. My name's Mrs. C, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.